Okay, hey everybody. I'm Sherry Winn. This is another edition of Winner's Minutes via Speaker's Pathway, and I'm honored to just share with you some of the concepts that I've learned throughout years and years of reading, meditating, journaling, and being coached by others. So, in this time, people are really uncertain, and the uncertainty creates it's the whole uncertainty part that creates the fear, the panic. The thing is that there's a new normal going on. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's evil. It doesn't mean that we're going to go into some nosedive into the unknown evil of the world. It simply means that there's an opportunity that exists in front of us. In fact, uncertainty is normal. It's just that we haven't experienced this type of uncertainty before. Think about it. How many times have you in your life faced times of uncertainty? We all do. Times when, the first time you might face it is going off to college. That's a time of great uncertainty. Marriage, divorce, illness. There's always times of uncertainty. It's part of the pathway of how we live. It's not unnormal to be uncertain. It's just that right now it seems like it's such a big pulsating thing that we're experiencing. So we go into fear, and fear is not really the direction of thinking. It's not the direction of responding. Fear is the direction of reacting. So when we move forward, number one is to accept that uncertainty is normal. If we can just grasp that first and not get upset about it, not dive into some deep despair well that says it's never ending, we're going to fall forever, we'll never see light again, all those things that happen to us. And to get there, it's really acceptance that this is the new normal right now. And it might be a new normal, a new way of living. We don't know what's going to happen as a result of this, but we do know this, that your ability to navigate this is the single most important factor of the outcome for you. And so while other people are panicking because they see only in the future loss, that is not reality. That is something that's created by the thoughts that they're thinking. And there's different ways to think. So the first thing is understanding that resistance to the new normal is going to cause more anxiety and more stress, which increases that panic response, which decreases your immune system. You go right into a really negative space as soon as you go there. And so many people are panicking. I mean, they're buying guns at record pace because they think they have to protect their homes, and they're buying food at record pace, like canned goods. And people are panicking to the point that they're not thinking clearly. They're not thinking of what's the possible good that could come from this. They're just thinking of the possible evil, and they're only like dwelling in the darkness. And when we go there, we go into that fight or flight response, which leads us only into more negativity. We're not thinking. Acceptance is something different. Look, there are going to be some painful points here. We may not have the same amount of money in our IRA accounts. We may not have the ability to buy all the goods that we want. We certainly don't have the ability to go buy toilet paper what we want. But here's the thing. When you just sit in acceptance of what is right now, when you just believe that what is happening is okay, that no matter what happens, you're going to find the way out of it. There's a difference in the amount of suffering that you feel, because suffering is optional. And we always have that. We have the option to execute our choice muscle in the ways that we choose to respond. How you can respond to this is more important actually than what is going on currently. How are you responding to it? What are you doing that's increasing your ability to handle the current status? And if you just understand that suffering is optional, there is a choice there. The pain is real. Yes, some of us have lost money. I personally have lost a lot of gigs. I'm a speaker. And so I've lost all those face-to-face contacts that I love, because I love feeling the energy in a room and connecting with that energy, which is so much different. When you're speaking online, you can't feel and connect in the same ways that you normally would. And so there is a certain loss there. But how are you connecting right now? How are you connecting with yourself, and what opportunity exists for you to move forward? And that's what you want to think about. What opportunity exists that I can move forward? And the first thing is, remember to look for ways to improve your situation. How can you improve what's going on right now? A lot of the great CEOs and companies, that's exactly what they're doing. They're not going into despair. They're looking for opportunity. What opportunity exists right now to move forward? You know, Ford and GM has shifted from making vehicles to making ventilators. They immediately did that. Many of the distilleries have shifted from making, you know, alcohol to making hand sanitizer. They immediately look for the opportunity to serve, to serve, to do a greater good for the world, and they found it. And it's the same thing that can happen to you. What's your opportunity that exists? And maybe you're not a producer of things, but certainly there's an opportunity that exists for you right now moving forward. There is an opportunity for you somehow. What are you doing differently to improve your current situation? And maybe that's just connecting at a deeper level with you. Maybe that's, you know, right now I get to spend an entire hour in the mornings to sit down and to meditate, to read, to connect at a higher level, to really re-energize and keep myself in a stable situation, looking for opportunities. And I have this great thing that has really shifted where I feel, and that's I write 10 things I'm grateful for from the day before. So I sit down and say, okay, what am I grateful for that happened yesterday? And I thought initially 10 would be easy. And the first 5 are always easy. And I get to 6, I'm thinking, why did I make 10? 10 seems so far and distant. But it stretches you to get to the place that you see, man, there are some really good things that are happening still. There are some things to be grateful for. And then I added to that to create, what is one miracle that happened yesterday? And some people think, well, a miracle is like this really, you know, outstanding event, but maybe a miracle is just a new way of viewing your current situation. Maybe the miracle is you got an unexpected check in the mail. Maybe the miracle is you looked outside and the first time for days, like in Montana, like it's still snowing right now, we have 10 inches on the ground. But maybe the miracle is this seeing a ray of sunlight. So, you know, when you stretch yourself to look for those things, there's a shift that occurs inside of you, which is really powerful. That shift is so powerful because it keeps you connected to the acceptance of greater good, because there is greater good coming forward if you are looking for it, versus the people who are in resistance and they're just searching, they're resisting the current reality, which makes them angry and it makes them depressed. And all they're seeing is what isn't rather than what is. So there's an opportunity for you right now to shift what you're doing, to shift and go into a new direction, to reconnect with you. And that just takes a book. I mean, or it takes a YouTube video. It takes, you know, get on a phone with somebody and say, let's discuss this quote that I just read. What does it mean to you? This is what it means to me. Is there a deeper level to that? There's such a great opportunity right now to reconnect and to switch your thinking. The second thing is, think of the unknown as just another word for creativity, because that's what it is. When there's unknown, there is creativity opportunity. And we're always in one of 3 states. We're in the state of creativity, of maintenance, or destruction. Constantly, our bodies are in that state. Our minds are in that state. You know, look at the nature's in that state. If you look at a tree, there is this constant evolution between those 3. There's this place where creativity occurs, where the tree is growing. And there's a place where it's kind of stabilizing, where the leaves aren't falling, where you can see the beauty of the tree. And there's a place of destruction. It's a natural progression of life. Well, it's the same thing in your body. You have cells that are constantly being destroyed, and you have cells that are constantly being renewed. And at the same time, you have that stability or maintenance. But what happens is when we stay in one of those stages, like maintenance for too long, like some people right now might be just holding on to the seconds. They might just be holding on to just trying to make it through this. Or they might be in a total state of destruction. You know, their whole mindset has gone to what is bad, what are the negative things that are happening, I'm not going to make it. It's a terrible thing that's going on right now. And they're in those states. Those states are not producing a positive effect at the end. So what is the state you want to go to? Creativity. Where's the creativity? What does that do? It infuses you with new energy. It possesses this new place that you can get to when you're creative. What is around you that you can do? And certainly there are a lot of people right now being creative on the internet. I mean, I look at Facebook and it just cracks me up with some of the different things that people are doing to share laughter and reaching out at people who've never done a video before, doing videos. So there is creativity. And so that unknown produces this vast opportunity for creativity. And that just means reaching out. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, what a great thing. None of it's bad. It means you're just opening new doors to yourself. The next thing that might help you, it certainly is helping me, is to acknowledge that opposites exist in the world. We must have opposites, and they exist. Think about it: hot and cold, night and day. Um, you know, it it is natural and normal to have opposites, and only through opposites, and only through the contrast of those opposites, can we experience a difference in the way that we feel. And we always have that choice, the choice muscle, to experience the greater feeling. But if we don't have the opposites, we don't know. We don't know what something means. If you've never experienced a great failure, you've never experienced then the opposite end of that great success. It's that it's that knowledge between the two that allows you to have that incredible feeling that exists. So if you just understand that it is a natural state of opposites, that not all the time will the stock market rise. You look at history. In fact, all financial advisors right now are saying, hold steady, don't pull your money, because that's the worst thing you can do, right? Hold steady because it will come back. Years and years and years of history have shown this. So embrace that. Embrace the moment. It's what you have. Embrace the moment because it's all that you have. You just have this one moment right now. There's no other moment that exists. And what happens is when we get into that past, and most of the things that are triggered right now in you are the past or from past experiences. If you've had a place where there wasn't enough, right now you're going right back to that space because it is a past space where that incredible suffering, right? Suffering was felt because maybe you didn't have the tools to know suffering was a choice. So you went back into the past and you feel that. And that triggers just putting you back into this whole thing about what the future is going to be. So you're predicting the future from the past. You're going into this space that it doesn't need to be there because the past is gone. It no longer exists. This is the moment that currently exists right now, is only this moment. And in this very moment, you're probably okay. In this very moment, I'm okay, right? There's nothing that's harming me right now. Usually the harm is either we're living in the past moments or we're projecting future moments. So be where you are. Really tap into compassion because there's a choice between that anger and compassion that we go to. There's a place where anger can rule our lives. And I know for me, anger ruled my life for probably a good 15 years. And what did that give me? It gave me chronic pain because I lived so much in anger that I couldn't get out of it. I was so distraught by what I saw or what I interpreted as bad in the world. And every time I interpreted as bad, then more of that same feeling came into me. So can you give yourself compassion for just where you're at? Offer yourself compassion. Maybe you didn't have the money set aside that you needed. Maybe you weren't, maybe you were living paycheck to paycheck. But getting angry at yourself does not change it. It only increases that whole immunity problem. That the less immune that you are to diseases, which is created by greater stress, you're putting yourself in a more of a position to get the virus versus accepting what is and offer yourself compassion for where we are right now. Whatever occurred, maybe you didn't do the right things to get yourself in a great spot right now, but just give yourself compassion because you didn't know or you didn't have the tools. That self-compassion is a lot better than self-judgment. There's a difference of feeling between the two, and living in that place of self-compassion is such a better place to be when you're resounding in that energy. This is a great time to understand that this too shall pass. Because we live in uncertainty, nothing remains the same forever. It just doesn't. I mean, you enter a new chapter of your life all the time, whether it was, when you were a kid to a young adult to going into marriage, and then you had kids, which is a whole different chapter, and your kids leave and you're an empty nester. Those are all different chapters. Nothing remains the same. It's when we want it to, when we're trying to force that control of, is what creates all the suffering of, right? But just being in the moment and knowing it's going to pass. Whether it's a good moment, it's going to pass, and whether it's, label those good or bad, we don't really know. But when we label them, it's part of the labeling of a moment. It causes so much angst within us. So people, listen, there is a new normal right now. You have a choice. That choice is acceptance or it's resistance. You have that choice to move forward and be steady in terms of what you believe, to tap into that greater good or to choose something different. So my name is Sherry Winn. If there's anything that I've said today that resonates with you, know that I'm willing to offer a free book, a free FREE, it's a free book called Unleash the Winner Within You, a success game plan for business leadership and life. And I would certainly love for you to have that for free. All you have to do is email me. That there's nothing attached to this. You can get the free book at sherry@thewinningleadershipcompany.com. That's SHERRY @thewinningleadershipcompany.com. It's free, nothing attached. It's just what I want to give right now. I think right now there are people who are in the position of needing some sort of inspiration, and I would love to be a part of that inspiration for you to give back, because I know that what you give, you get, and what you get, you give. So please hang on, be steady in your faith, recognize that there is a new normal for all of us. It's not bad, it just is. And exercise your choice muscle to move forward. So thank you, Jim and Dawn, for having me a part of Speaker's Pathway. And I'm so honored to share these words with you today. Please, please, please be present, find the good, and exercise that choice muscle in the new normal.